And when he wasn't carefully peeling sticky pages apart, he also published the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Martial Arts Training Manual and the Ninja Turtles Karate Teaching Guide. Well, obviously, I have to get copies of those for Kung Fail. Please, if anybody watching has copies of those, please contact me immediately. Well, thanks to Shinseki Evan, I got them. And somehow, his occultic magic oil pickup artistry was not the worst thing Gary Brodsky ever did. So I ask you, dear viewer, what is the world's most fearsome fighting team?
Iceman, you know I'm not playing. Devastating show what the turtles are saying. Ninja, ninja, rap, ninja, ninja, rap, ninja, ninja, rap. Go, 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 go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja.
Hello, I'm Larson Halleck, this is Kung Fail, and today we're looking at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Karate Training Manuals put out by crappy publisher and Rodney Dangerfield lookalike Gary Brodsky. If you want to know more about him specifically, you can watch my video on his PUA stuff. Let's talk a little bit more about SOLSON Publications, namely Jim Lee, famous for his work on Batman and his own comic book imprint Wildstorm, got his start at SOLSON, inking for the SOLSON Christmas special Samurai Santa. Was Gary Brodsky or somebody else at SOLSON just a huge weeaboo? Some other titles besides the Ninja Turtle stuff and Samurai Santa include the Bushido Blade of Zatoichi Walrus, Codename Ninja, Ninjutsu, and Samurai Funnies. I'm curious as to whether or not Gary ever actually studied martial arts. I mean, with those dance moves, he could get free service at any health club or gym. SOLSON also published Reagan's Raiders and Those Crazy Peckers. But we're not here to talk about those. We're here to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Karate Training Manuals. All 7 of them. Yes, 7. Because our favorite reptiles named after the Italian Renaissance masters, and yes, I know Donatello was technically pre-Renaissance, have so much knowledge, it cannot be contained in one comic. This shit sold for $2.25. Also, the logo is Gary Brodsky with a red face mask and a turtle shell. I like to pretend that he wore that around the office while writing the comic book. This is an authorized training manual. I presume it was authorized around the same time SOLSON Publications got the license to use the Ninja Turtles from Mirage Comics. Seriously people, I have no idea how the legal situation works for this. On the cover, we see a turtle sidekicking another turtle square in the dick. And considering how proportionately big the penis would be on a 5-foot-tall turtle, that's no small injury. No, I don't know which turtles these two are. They both have red face masks, and they're not carrying weapons. For those who don't know, they all wore red face masks in the original comic books, and it wasn't until the 1987 cartoon show that they got differentiating colors and belt buckles and such. Okay, so the first page is Turtle breaking bricks. Bricks that are placed on top of each other on a flat surface. Yeah, go ahead and try that. You totally won't break your hand. Refer to my video on breaking for more on how to set up bricks for breaking. So then on the first page, Gary advises us to warm up before working out. As I will refrain from making another joke about his sympathy for the devil dance, I will agree with the notion of warming up being a corking good idea. Limbering up the hips. I highly doubt Gary can do this, but there's nothing inherently bad about these. I'm personally not the sort of person who spends a long time warming up, but these can't hurt you. Then we have knuckle push-ups, which you all know I advocate a great deal for body development for breaking. The back stretching exercise. That's a Hindu push-up, Gary. Oh boy, and now we get defensive techniques. Use a knife hand chop to block a punch. Yes, block punches with punches, that'll work. Yeah, people, don't block a kick with your hands, it won't end well. That's what the shin is for. Okay, book 2, we're heading right into it. Donatello uses the bow or the kon. Origin unknown. Origin unknown? It's a fucking stick. That's the origin. He gives various grips. The baseball grip. The straight up and down grip. Note that none of those are the hold it like a spear, instantly applicable to both offense and defense grip that actual practitioners of quarterstaff use. But truth be told, this is not that bad, and it's very basic, but there's nothing inherently wrong with it. And the same with the Nunchaku section. The size section is where the thing falls apart. First of all, he refers to it as a sword. It is not a sword, or even a blade for that matter. The sai is actually a blunt instrument that was more of a metal billy club than anything else. He also advises you to put your thumb along the shaft of the weapon. No, holy shit, no, do not do that. Rather than explain why, I'm gonna let you figure it out for yourself. Grab a stick, hold it in your fist and swing it at something, then put your thumb on the shaft and do it again. Guess which one hurts your thumb and which one doesn't. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I would advise you never to take a straddle leg position in a fight because it leaves your dick open for a kicking, such as was shown in the picture and oh wait, that's Raphael's tail. My mistake. Also, what is this nonsense about leading with the pommel? It has prongs for a reason, Gary. They're to block and break blades. All I can assume is that Gary just used a twinge of common sense to figure out how to use a bow and nunchaku semi-decently, and then just shat the bed when it came to an exotic weapon. Also, I like how in this picture Raphael is punching really hard and his entire body is tensing. Actually, I think Raphael might be having an aneurysm. The bits about the katana shown are not completely terrible. At least Gary doesn't make the mistake of showing the straight-bladed ninja sword that, didn't actually exist. But then he refers to the pommel as the pummel, and my respect for Brodsky drops just a little bit more. The last 5 manuals are individual profiles of each turtle and his weapon. I mean, obviously we've done the beginner shit, but now it's time for the advanced stuff. The first of the individual manuals is Michelangelo. Yeah, because the nunchaku are really the weapon you want to be giving to a novice. Also, that is some terrible perspective on the left leg there. I don't know if Gary draws these comics, but I didn't even know that was supposed to be a leg until I stared at it for a couple of minutes. It's called a vanishing point. Please use it. Okay, the art is done by Jason Rogers. Who the hell's that? Apparently, he's only done the art on 2 comic books. Meteor Man, which I didn't even know was a comic book, and the Ninja Turtles training manual. The first page shows Mikey using his chucks to choke out Garbage Bag Man. Wait a minute, this guy has turtle feet. Michelangelo, why are you choking your brother? And yet that makes more sense than the actual diagrams of the nunchaku techniques, which don't seem to have any continuity at all. And frankly, in general, I'm not in favor of swinging something that close to your crotch. Then we have an advertisement which says, Ninjutsu is the martial art of the 80s. It is being exploited in so many top comics. Well, that is a true statement, but not in the way Gary thinks. The Great Circle Route, aka what any 5-year-old boy would do when he gets his first nunchaku. The next couple of pages show how the sticks of the nunchaku can be used to jab and choke, which is indeed accurate, but then you get something like this. Yeah, block the knife, wrap the chain around the wrists. Why wouldn't you just block and then hit the guy upside the head? We're about 1 step away from 29 deadly poison fists. And that's how the comic ends. Next. It's Donatello's issue, The Bow Staff, and whoa! I was not expecting to get a face full of turtle crotch. Well, now I guess I have an intimate knowledge of what they mean when they say Donatello does machines. Did Donatello receive an award? I mean, I know he was vigorously trained in the, sewers, but I wasn't aware Splinter was doing formal award ceremonies. Or was Menkyo Kaiden a formal name for face full of human feces? Anyway, we see a few blocks using the ends in small circular motions. Nothing wrong here. The next few pages are exercises of twirling and figure eights to develop hand and forearm strength. Again, part of any legitimate training. And then there's exactly a half page of striking. No textual explanations, just very tiny pictures. Yes, clearly, twirling is much more important than hitting. But don't feel confused. Gary helpfully gives us a schedule of martial arts practice, presumably based on his own highly rigorous training schedule. 3 periods of martial arts practice and meditation. You know, as a practitioner of both, I can safely say that diving into 4 hours of meditation and 6 hours of martial arts as a novice would drive anybody insane. And then there's this crap. No. Never cross your arms up. Were there any martial artists that they could have consulted for this? Raphael, The Art of the Sai. Raphael is spelled wrong. And oh god, there's 3 of them. First page says, it is important to develop the ability to flip the sai. No, it really isn't. I reiterate, the prongs were part of the sai's primary use as a blade breaker, and for that matter, holding it in the punch dagger style you see in movies and stuff would mean holding the middle prong between your middle and ring finger. Yeah, try that. See how comfortable it is. We get some punching exercises. Yes, punch and then pull your arm back with the point of a metal spike hurtling towards your chest. Bang up job, Gary. And for God's sake, Raphael, look where you're punching. Well, that might be the most incorrect thing in these pages. Just think about what that entails. And in case you're wondering, no. At no point in this manual does he ever suggest you can just point the sai forward and swing it at somebody. It's a fucking billy club! Leonardo. Yep, there's the fake ninja sword with the square handguard and the straight blade. The book says the upper fingers and thumb angle the sword. No, actually, in traditional kenjutsu, the upper 3 fingers hold it steady and the ring and pinky finger are squeezed or slackened to control the angle of the blade. The sword is the soul of the samurai. Yes, even though no samurai would have ever used this fake sword with a fuller and a square tsuba. The comic gives us several side techniques and quick draw techniques before getting to the overhead lunging cut. That's curious because I was always under the impression that the overhead lunging cut was the basic kenjutsu technique. But clearly, Gary Brodsky is the world's greatest martial artist, so I defer to his judgment. Oh, and the comic also ends with this splash page of Leo just stabbing a guy in the throat, which, was probably a bit of a shock for the children reading this. Although, to be fair, in the original Mirage comics, they did actually kill people with their weapons. And the last one's a series of techniques to defend using the 4 weapons. And also some basic judo throws, which are not bad, actually. So those were the TMT training manuals. So children, what did we learn? Well, we learned not to learn martial arts from this guy. If you want to learn martial arts, find the trainer, or at the very least, find the book written by a real fighter. Because, as it looks, the only thing you can possibly learn from SOLSON Publications is how to run a crappy comic book company into the ground. I'm Larson Halleck. Keep on training.
And now a word from our sponsors. Hey folks, are you a fan of Larson Halleck and the Barbaric Gentleman? Of course you are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching. Do you want to help me out somehow? If so, here's how you can give me money. You can go to patreon.com/LarsonHalleck and give me some money. Or you can donate to me via PayPal, paypal.me/LarsonHalleck. Or buy my book. Otherwise visit my Gab, my Twitter, and keep watching the videos.